It's dynasty draft time, guys. We're getting into this video. This is a super flex league, half point per reception kind of dynasty league here. We're going 3 rounds for you guys. We're going to be naming a lot of these guys, and it's going to be a little different than a lot of the super flex you see, because in most super flex you kind of want those quarterbacks a lot earlier on because you want those quarterbacks. This one, you have to wait and see what I have. I think there's going to be a couple spots here. We're going to be waiting on a quarterback just because there's no really elite options, in my opinion, in this draft right now. We're gonna kind of go through this live, make some picks and go down there. So if we're at the 101, right, where do we have to go? Well, there's only one option, in my opinion, at the 101 is we're gonna set it right here as Ashton Jeanty. He has to be the #1 guy here, right? He's got elite contact balance, right? I mean, he sheds tackles with ease. He's clearly the best fantasy option overall for fantasy football, right? He ranked first in his class in yards after contact and forced missed tackle rate, right, over his whole college career. So he's somebody that I can see go to a plethora of teams, whether it be the Raiders or whether it be the Cowboys, or there's a lot of places that want to, even the Saints may be rumored to want this guy. There's a lot of places he can go to, and he could be effective. As long as he can be the 1A guy and don't have to sit behind somebody, I think he could be a great fantasy asset coming right out of the gate, right at the beginning. I love Ashton Jeanty as the 101. And with it being a super flex at the 102, we're going to have to go ahead and take a player. Let's go ahead and take Cam Ward and slip him right here into this second spot. There's a lot of plethora of options. Could he go #1 to the Titans? Does somebody want to jump, give a huge package to the Titans to be able to take Cam Ward with that first overall pick? Possibly. You know, he ranked first, you know, with 39 touchdowns, you know, second with the 88.7 QBR last season, right? He was effective, you know, with a 9.1 yards per carry as well. So he had a ridiculous 79% of his 38 carries went for 5+ yards. So he can do it on the ground. And even though he can, and he's an effective runner, he's more likely, he likes to be the pocket passer. He wants to be able to sit into the pocket, deliver the football, and make good, smart plays. So to me, some people may have Shedeur Sanders as the #1 guy here. I have Cam Ward here. I think Cam Ward, I think he could probably be developing into a better quarterback overall. Sanders does have the pedigree here, obviously, with Deion Sanders being his father. But I'm just giving, in this mock draft, Cam Ward the benefit of the doubt. And we did talk about him a little bit. Let's go ahead and set the next player. We're going to go, where is he? Let's just try to type him in. Where is, ooh, I can't type, y'all. I can't type. We're going to go Shedeur Sanders right here at the 103 spot, guys. And we're doing this live, right? So I may have to type in some names, but that's okay. But Shedeur Sanders comes in here with the 3rd pick. I like him, right? He completed 72% of his passes, which ranked first in the football right now. He only had 7.4 ADOT, right, which is the 3rd lowest in his class. So he's not really going deep down the field, but he's kind of dinking and dunking, being the kind of that game manager, right? I think that, yes, while he did have a terrible offensive line at Colorado, I still think that he held the ball too long. There was plenty of plays that he had enough time. Look at the film. He had time to throw the ball away, and he didn't. Were there times that his offensive line failed and he got him a sack? Of course. I'm not saying there isn't, but there's also times that I see he held on to the ball too much. I just don't like that situation. So because of that, he has to learn and develop a little bit more. I just gave Cam Ward the benefit of the doubt, place him at the 102, and we're gonna get Shedeur Sanders at the 103. So I like that. We're moving right along here. Let's go to the 104. Let's set the player. And I'm going Ted McMillan right here. Ted McMillan, he's one of my favorite wide receivers, obviously, in this entire class. He's a big body type of wide receiver. He handled a massive 34% target share for Arizona, and he had a class high 52% air yards. So he's doing great. He's the guy you want. He was that alpha main wide receiver for your team that you want to see for fantasy football. And I had to take him here at the 104. I know maybe some people are maybe justifying some other places that you could go with this, but I have to go Ted McMillan. He's going to be a stud no matter who he goes to. He's going to be in the top 10. Whether he goes to the Raiders, whether he goes to the Saints, whoever goes up there and gets him, they're going to get themselves a 1A type receiver, an alpha dog that's going to probably be fantasy relevant for years to come. I like Ted McMillan at the 104. So this is where we look at the 105, and we're taking Travis Hunter right here, and we're gonna list him as the wide receiver. Now this is going to be the caveat. We'll have to see, #1, who he gets drafted from. You know, how do they want to use him? He does want to play both wide receiver and cornerback, but if the NFL team says no, you're only playing cornerback, Travis Hunter is a waste of a pick. So before your rookie draft start, I want to just do as much research as you can to make sure what this team wants to do with this guy, because if you draft him in your rookie drafts and he comes out there and he's just playing cornerback, you just threw away a first round high pick on a player that's not going to be playing wide receiver. So we'll see how it goes. I hope Travis Hunter does play a lot of that wide receiver. He can do it, right? He had a class high 94% that he caught of catchable passes last season. 94% he caught, right? 93% over his entire college career. So he catches the balls. If it's a catchable ball, he's coming down with it. Great wide receiver. I think he's worth that 105 pick, and I'm hoping he does a lot with the with whoever team he goes for and playing at the wide receiver. But let's go over to the 106 here. Let's see. Let's pull it up. Set player, and I'm gonna take let's take a Marion Hampton at the 106. This is somebody who had a career 3.85 yards after contact, right? Which was the 4th best in his class. He's one of those burly type of bowling ball running back as you see. He could be a good goal line back. It'd be all 3 downs. He can do everything, you know, pass, block, whatever the case is. A Marion Hampton can give you that. There's a lot of people that might even say Hampton's closer to Gianti than what a lot of people may think. I don't think so. I think Gianti is clearly the 1A type of guy here, but a Marion Hampton, he's up there as well. And I can't stand these people that are saying that a Marion Hampton is either 3rd or 4th on the list. That's just not the case. A Marion Hampton is a stud of a running back. Taking him here at the 106, I think is a freaking smash spot here. So come here at the 107. This is where I'm going to take my leap here. I'm going to take my leap. Where is he at here? I think this is the spot we need to take. I'm just going to type it in. We're going to take it in. We're going to put in here Jackson Dart, right? That's who we're going to go. 107. This is one of my favorite quarterbacks of the class. And I'm telling you guys, if it gets towards the end of the season and Jackson Dart's actually the best quarterback of this class, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. You know, he led the entire draft class as of right now, quarterbacks in average depth of target. His ADOT 11.1, right? Yards per attempt 10.8, right? Efficiency rating 181, right? It's just the crazy part, if you guys want to break down Jackson Dart, he had such good numbers passing. He still ended up with a class high 5.8% drop percentage. His wide receivers dropped the ball more than anyone else in the class, and he still was able to produce the way that he did. Now, giving him wide receivers in the NFL who can actually catch the ball consistently, Jackson Dart can explode. And there's going to be a team. It wouldn't shock me if Dart is a top 10 NFL quarterback. I mean, some team may really fall in love with this guy, either trade up to go draft him or take him in the, mid rounds, middle of the 1st round. That would give him the draft capital needed to be a stud at the NFL level. So I like that quite a bit. We're at the 108 now. At the 108, I think we're going to go ahead and take, let's take Travion Henderson here at the 108. I think that's great. He was first among the entire running back class with 7.1 yards per carry last season. I think that was great. He's one of those guys who could take the ball to the house at any given moment. He's got the speed, right? He could be a big play back. He had multiple 50+ yard plays or 50-yard plus touchdowns, I would say, probably in his career already. So he can hit the home run. He's a home run type of guy. 5'10", 202 pounds. He could take the load, right? He could be a 3-down back in the NFL. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. I like myself some Travion Henderson. A lot of people thinking with Quinshon Judkins, the way that he played, he had more opportunities than Travion Henderson last season, but I think Henderson is the better running back. I like him there. At the 109, let's go ahead. This is where let's take our tight end. Let's take Tyler Warren at the 109. He handled 32% target share for Penn State, 6'5", 256 pounds. His 2.84 yards per route run was actually 2nd in the tight end class. He's got elite skills. And you got to remember, right? Last 2 seasons, who was the #1 tight end in fantasy football? Well, it was Sam Laporta 2 years ago. It was Brock Bowers last year. This could be the year Tyler Warren goes in there and becomes the #1 fantasy football tight end. Before you know, we always say don't draft your rookie tight ends. They don't produce. Tyler Warren could produce. He went absolute crazy, absolute bananas for numbers over the season. The offense ran through him at Penn State, and if a team wants to use him like they use Brock Bowers, I could see Warren up there as a top 5 tight end as a rookie season. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, first shocker, right? Let's go to the 110 here. We're gonna go here. We're gonna have to type his name in because we have to scroll down a little bit. I'm going DJ Giddens, guys. A lot of people are sleeping on this guy. I love myself to DJ Giddens, 6 foot, 212 pounds, right? He showed well at the combine with a 4.4340. So he's fast, he's good. 39.5-inch vertical, right? Second best among all running backs in the class, and 130-inch broad jump, right? Which was also second among all the running backs. He's putting up all the metrics that you need to be a solid running back, right? He has exceptional vision and patience. He can find the holes when he needs to. I mean, he just allows everything to develop. The whole plays will develop in front of him before he kind of bursts through the line of scrimmage. And he has good contact balance as well. He's got the entire package of being a stud at the NFL level. And I'm hoping he gets good draft capital and a good situation to show you guys what I have been watching on film. DJ Giddens, one of my favorite running backs in this entire class. That's what puts him at number 4 running back for me overall. And I put him there at the 110. I love myself some DJ Giddens, guys. So let's go to the 111. Let's go ahead and set that player. Let's go Caleb Johnson here, the running back out of Iowa, right? 6'1", 224 pounds. He's another one of those running back, a little slower than what you would want. He ran a 4.57 40 at the combine, so not as fast as what you want, almost a 4.6. You know, he only had 34% of his runs go for 5+ yards. So he does, however, have excellent vision, right? And decisiveness. He hits the hole with authority. You know, he can get those short chunk yards. He could be a goal line back for you. But overall, I just like Caleb Johnson. Not as much as a lot of people like Caleb Johnson. I've even seen him as high as number 2 on some people's lists. I don't think he belongs up there. I do like DJ Giddens more than I like Johnson myself. But Johnson can get the job done, so. We're at the last pick of the first round. Let's go. This is where we'll probably take Quinshawn Judkins, the other running back out of Ohio State. He ran a 4.48, so very fast, right? At 221 pounds, right? I mean, he possesses exceptional burst and acceleration. He scored 16+ touchdowns in all 3 seasons that he's played. Whether it's been an Ole Miss, whether it's been Ohio State, he scores touchdowns. So he could be a good goal line back if needed. I think that's a good spot for the first round. So that's my first round mock. Let's go to the second round here. First pick of the second round. Let's go and get another tight end. Let's get Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan, 6'6", 248 pounds. I would say, you know, when he was active, let's just say that when he was active last season, he handled 37% of Michigan's targets and a class high 40% of the air yards, right? He's a dangerous seam threat. He's a couple years, almost 2 years younger than Tyler Warren. So he's not as fully developed as Warren is right now, but give him some time in the NFL. He could easily be a tight end 1 for your team. Colston Loveland has got the ability to be a fantasy stud eventually. Could he do his rookie season? Yeah, he could. I think depends on the landing spot, right? All depend on the landing spot. Let's go to the next pick right here. Let's pull up Luther Burden here. This is a very productive wide receiver that I do like. 6 foot, 206 pounds out of Missouri, right? He creates instant separation, right? With explosive first step. You can see him cutting in and out of his breaks. He can kind of get open, make his own plays, get himself open, especially in like man coverage. You know, I would say that he has, elite yards after the catch ability. I mean, he gets the ball in his hand, boom, 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 couple jukes, he's down. I like myself some Luther Burden. He could be one of those good fantasy football guys, especially if he goes to somebody like the Saints or the Raiders or one of these guys. Luther Burden, I don't think the Raiders, that's probably too high for Burden. Maybe a little bit later though. You put Luther on one of these teams. I like myself some Luther Burden. I think he does really well though. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the 210 set of player. That's where I think Emeka Egbuka comes through. The other Ohio State wide receiver, 6'1", 202 pounds, but he did primarily play in the slot, right? 73% of his plays at Ohio State came from the slot, right? Short range threat, 8.6 ADOT. You know, he was very productive. He catch 72% of his targets, and he posted a strong 2.64 yards per route run. So, you know, he's there, right? He's getting those short out routes or those slant routes, getting you a couple yards when he needs to. So I like Emeka Egbuka, good possession receiver, good slot receiver. I think he would be fine as a second round tight end for you. So let's go to the 209 here. Let's see, where are we going? Let's type this in because I don't see him. I think I'm going to go Matthew Golden at the 209. He's another one of those receivers that's starting to rise up on my board quite a bit. 5'11", 191. He ran a 4.29 40, which was first among all the wide receivers. He's speedy. He can get in and out of his breaks, right? 1.86 yards per route run. Not very good, but he did take a nice little leap in 2024. I see the progression, right? If he could continue to progress with the metrics that he has and that he showed at the combine as well, Matthew Golden can turn out to be a solid fantasy producer for you. So We're at the 208. Who we're going with 208? Let's go Devin Neal here. This is one of those running backs could be a little bit intriguing. He's been going a little all over my rankings here anyway. 5'11", 213 pounds. So he has the size to be okay, but he did run a 4.58 40 at the combine, which is a little slower than what I wanted to see, right? He does thrive in the screen game though, right? He could transition up the field extremely quickly. He had 760 carries in college football, which was the second most in his class, but he also had the second best elusive rating, right? So that's what I'm saying. You get the ball in his hands on the outside. He may not be the best top end speed guy, but he can make some moves. He can make some people miss, and he can get you the yardage that you need. So going over another running back here. Let's set over here. Where is my guy? I think we're going to go Cam Scadaboo. Where is you at, buddy? Let's go here. We're gonna go Cam Scadaboo right here. Another one of those running backs. You know, you saw him post that Heisman pose in college football. He thinks he's the best college football. He has the confidence. You do like that. 5'9", 219 pounds. 3.1 forced missed tackles last season. It was first in his class. All right, he's good. He can make people miss. He's very shifty, very elusive. 50% target share at 11.1 yards per target. So he can catch the football. He can do a little bit of everything. And I'm really curious to see how high he goes. And if he's a second round running back, man, the sky's the limit for Scadaboo. And I think he could be drafted in the second round. I really do. A lot of people maybe have him in the third or fourth. Listen, somebody may fall in love with this guy and take him. I'm telling you guys. We're at the 206. Let's go Trey Harris, right? Another big body wide receiver for Ole Miss. He was Jackson Dart's main target down there at Ole Miss. 6'2", 205 pounds. Really, he was a red zone threat, I would say, for Ole Miss. His 5.20 yards per route run last season was more than a yard higher, right, than any other wide receiver in this class. He's a natural hands catcher who has the ability of being a safety blanket for a quarterback. Trey Harris, I like him in the second round, especially in the mid-second round. He's kind of lowered a little bit on me. I had Trey Harris actually up here. I think he was ahead of Egbuka at one point early on in my process. The more film I watch, I've dropped him a couple because of Egbuka and Golden is kind of rising. Even Golden might even jump Egbuka one day for me. We'll have to see how that goes, though. But let's move right along at the 205. Let's go Ollie Gordon, the second here. This is the running back out of Oklahoma State, 6'1", big back, right? 226. He's one of the largest running backs in the entire class, like a mini almost Derrick Henry, and an 80-inch wingspan as well. So he was better in 2023 than he was in 2024. So don't look at his 2024 numbers and kind of don't box score hunt. That's what I'm saying. Look at the film. Look at how he is running. He had a down year in 2024, but if he can produce anything consistently what he did in 2023, this right here could be a steal in the draft. He could be one of the best running backs in the draft, and he could be a massive steal on draft day for you. I do like myself some Ollie Gordon. So let's go to the next guy. Let's go over the guy who was an absolute steal or a game breaker. I don't even see him up here from the combine. Let's type this in at Bashal Tootin, right? This is a guy that ran out of the gym, right? The problem with Tootin, though, is he struggles with his fumbles. He just puts the ball on the carpet way too much. He put it on a class high 2.5% rate at Virginia Tech, right? But he's very efficient. He's a very efficient running back. He ranked third in both yards after contact and forced missed tackle rate, right? He gets the top gear in a very much a hurry. And like I said, he dominated the combine, right? Running back best 40, 4.32 40. He can get up there. He can get up there. He just needs to hold onto the football. And if he didn't have a fumble problem, I would probably have him up here. I'd probably have him up here around the Caleb Johnson range, right? Maybe early second round. That's where I'd have Tootin. But he just puts the ball on the floor way too much for my liking. Go to the 203 here. Next guy on the list, I don't see him here. Let's just go RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey is one of those running backs from University of Central Florida, 5'8", 205 pounds, a little bit of a smaller back, but he ran for 10 plus yards on a class best 23% of his carries last season. I love that, right? He showed very well at the combine, ran a 4.40 at the combine, so he's got the speed, he's got the ability. He's just coming from a little bit of a smaller school that you don't see a lot of studs come out of as UCF, but he showed some good flashes from us last season to say, okay, I'll make a second round dynasty pick on you. I think that can work out quite well. So let's go with the 202 here. Let's go with Jaden Higgins. I think Jaden Higgins could be a good wide receiving pick here in the second round at the 202. 6'4", 214 pounds. He could be an alpha dog, right? It kind of reminds me of T. Higgins, right? The other Higgins that's in the NFL right now. 2.86 yards per route run, ranked 3rd best in his wide receiver class. Higgins is an elite ball tracker, right? Especially on these deep ball routes, right? 74% target share at Iowa State. He was the man. He was the guy. Now there's 2. Jalen Noel's also there at Iowa State. We'll be talking about him a little bit later, but right now I think Jaden Higgins could be one of the biggest steals in this entire draft. I like Higgins and his ability. You put him in a good situation, he could be the number 1A wide receiver for your team. I wouldn't bat an eye at that at all. I think Jaden Higgins is going to be a stud in the NFL. Talk about a stud 1A wide receiver. Let's go with the 201. Last pick in the 2nd round. We're going to have to type this too. Let's go Savion Williams, the big body wide receiver out of TCU, right? 6'4", 222 pounds. Plays 82% of his routes are on the perimeter. So he is an X wide receiver. He's a guy. The problem with that is, though, a lot of short yardage, right? He had a 6.4 ADOT. He comes 2nd lowest in the wide receiver class with 10.2 yards per reception, which was the lowest in the class last season. He had a strong 4.48 40 though. So he's a fast wide receiver. He's a big wide receiver. He just didn't run a lot of those 9 routes. He didn't run a lot of the deep posts. He didn't run none of that. He was a short yards guy with the short ADOTs. What happens? It is what it is. Let's move on to the 3rd round. This is a super flex league. So now we're starting getting that 2nd tier of quarterbacks. Let's go Quinn Ewers right here. He is my 4th quarterback off the board here. And in a super flex league, it's odd because normally you have more quarterbacks going off the board than this. I just don't think any of these quarterbacks are worth these plays. So this is one, if you're in a super flex league, this isn't the league where you go out and get your quarterbacks. You either trade up high to get one of the Ward, Sanders, or Dart, or you just wait. You just grab these other positions because I just don't think these guys are worth it, right? 6'2", 214 pounds. Ewers thrives in that short to intermediate range, right? He's almost like a game manager, right? He's conservative, 7.8 ADOT. Had the lowest pressure rate, 24% in the class. He played for a good Texas team. The thing that impresses me the most about Quinn Ewers is he had that Manning kid right behind him. He could have had all the pressure in the world. People want Manning, get in the game, get in the game. He still held, as long as he was healthy, he held his role. He was there, he had poise, he put it all together, and he was able to perform at a high level. I like seeing that from Quinn Ewers. I think he's worth the 1st pick in the 3rd round. So 3-2. Let's go another quarterback here. We're going Jalen Monroe. This is a guy who started at 3rd. He was the 3rd quarterback on my list right now, and he has fallen tremendously for me. The more and more I watch the guy, the more concerns and red flags that I have. 6'1", 217 pounds. Only threw 16 touchdowns last season. He's more of a running quarterback than a throwing quarterback. He likes to throw the deep ball. Right? He had a 3.45 interception rate, was easily the worst in the entire class. Right? The accuracy just is not there right now. He needs a lot of coaching, right? His 10.2 ADOT was number 1. And his 79.5 QBR was number 2 in the class. My biggest concerns is his accuracy. He runs the football quite well, had a lot of rushing yards. It's just, is he accurate enough to throw the football? He just throws too many picks, too many interceptions. That's not going to help you when it comes to winning football games. So 3rd pick that we have going on right now. Let's go another wide receiver. Let's grab Isaiah Bond here. This is another one of those wide receivers that actually fell in my rankings quite a bit. I had him. I think I had him behind Igbuka at one point. I had Golden below him, Harris, Higgins, Williams. All these guys were below him, and he's just fallen a little bit just because his production just really wasn't there. Right, 5'11", 180 pounds, 11% target share. You know, last season was one of the lowest out of any wide receiver in this class. He wasn't the most productive wide receiver, but he has raw talent. Right, Isaiah Bond can get the job done. He just needs to be in a good situation. Right, I think that he's just not having the numbers that you want to see from one of these first 2 rounds guys that you want to go grab. So I would not take Isaiah Bond in the first 2 rounds. If you want to grab him in the 3rd round, I'm good. Like I said, he's got the raw talent. He's got the ability. I got him at the 303 for me. So we're sitting here at the 304, a wide receiver that I absolutely love. And by the time we get done with all this, he may even jump Isaiah Bond. But I'm going Jack Beck, the other wide receiver from TCU. He started at LSU. Didn't get the playing time and stuff that he wanted, so he moves over there to TCU and was modest until Savion Williams goes out with an injury. Jack Beck ends up being the main guy, and he was putting up some numbers. And he tore up the Senior Bowl too. Senior Bowl MVP, was rocking and rolling. He could be used all over the formations. He could be an absolute weapon, and he could do a lot of damage in the short and intermediate routes. He's a very good possession wide receiver. He can just get the job done. At 6'1", he's got the size to be a threat for fantasy football. I love it. I love it. Let's do another shock pick here at the 305. Let's go. I don't see him, so let's type it in. Let's type it in here. Jarquez Hunter, the running back out of Auburn. 5'9" guy, 204. You know, Hunter ranked top 4 in the class in both yards after contact with 406 and forced missed tackle rate last season. People may not think about Hunter because he at a smaller school. They may not want to, you know, boast somebody or are too scared to say it. Hunter, putting him in a good situation, could be a good backup running back for a team that if the main running back misses time, Hunter could come in there and produce for you. Grabbing this running back in the 3rd round of a rookie dynasty, even in a super flex league, I love myself Jarquez Hunter. I think he's a good solid pick at the 305. One of my best players, let's go ahead and knock him off here. Here he is, Harold Fannin Jr. This is the tight end from Bowling Green. Even though 6'3", guys, 241 pounds, he did a lot of good work. A lot of good work. He was the Bowling Green offense. He was everything. But people are saying, look, he played for Bowling Green, so he just, you know, yeah, he dominated, right? He was very effective. 5.9 yards per carry for as far as running the football too. He could do everything. He could do everything. Run, he could catch, he could do it all. He's like a triple threat out there, right? He makes a lot of plays, right? I think the thing is that people said, look, he comes from Bowling Green. He can't make any plays, right? He had a 3.83 yards per route run. You know, he's an elite route running technician, right? So I said he had yards per carry. What am I thinking right now? He didn't have any yards per carry, but I say he could be a triple threat, not yards per carry. So I was meant to say 3.83 yards per route run. The guy can just absolute blow people away with the skill set that he has, and he could be up there with like Tyler Warrant type talent. Like, he is really good. He went to the Senior Bowl against other high profile talent, and he was doing the same thing there that he did at Bowling Green. So like I said, it could be there. It could be rocking and rolling. I like myself some Fannin. Sleeper tight end, I believe. Easily the number 3 tight end on the board. 307. Let's go that running back out of Tennessee. Let's go Dylan Sampson, right? Very effective college rusher. He toughs, makes a lot of plays. I think his size could limit a little bit of his touch ceiling at 5'8", you know, 200 pounds. But overall, you know, I think Sampson's got the ability, right? I think he can make it play. I just don't know if he can be the guy for a team. But at this point of a rookie draft, you're kind of looking at these guys that can kind of fill in, get you some points. I had to put Dylan Sampson here at the 307. So let's go here. Let's go to a wide receiver here. Oop. Let's go Jalen Noel right here. We're going to plug him in here at the 308. 5'10", 194 pounds. We talked about his teammate just a little bit, or Higgins, but he's kind of the smaller of the wide receiver. He showed very well at the combine though. He tied the highest vertical and posted the longest broad jump, right? He's really a short range kind of guy, 8 yard ADOT. So he's more of a slot guy, 71% from the slot. But like I said, in fantasy football, you kind of like the slot guys. A lot of these slot guys can give you a lot of fantasy points. He could probably produce for you and be a good guy, depending again on his team and seeing what goes on here. We got 4 picks left. Let's go to 309. Let's go with I know who we're gonna go here. Let's go Elijah Arroyo, sorry, from Miami. I like this tight end quite a bit. 6'5", 250 pounds. He's a seam stretcher, right? He's got the 10 yard ADOT, right? Ranked second, and is 16.9 yards per reception and 12.6 yards per target, ranked first in the tight end class last season. So, you know, he led the whole class in yards per reception. He led the entire class in yards per target, you know, for his entire career. He played with Cam Ward. He was able to produce quite a bit good for Cam Ward. He can rock it out. The thing is, a lot of people are saying he has 0 career drops. 0 career drops in the time he played at Miami. Now, I take it, you know, he only had 61 targets in the 34 games that he played. And out of those 61 targets, he had 47 of them came in 2024. So he started getting more opportunity, but it's still crazy. You know, 61 targets, 0 drops. Hello? That's freaking awesome. That's awesome. 310. Where we going here? Let's go one of our guys that I actually really do like. Let's go Jalen Rolls out of Utah State. 6 foot 205. He ran a 4.4 240. He's a perimeter wide receiver, right? Works primarily kind of in short area. Likes to do those hook routes at Utah State quite a bit. Again, almost like I was saying with Noel, some of these guys who run in the slot or even in the perimeter, the ones who like to do those short yardage, whether it's a slant, those hook routes, out routes, they can get you a lot of fantasy points, right? A lot of high percentage shot of receiving the ball instead of those people that just go down deep a lot. Royals, I think at the end, towards the end of your rookie draft, I think that's pretty solid right there. I do like myself some Jalen Royals. 311. I'm gonna got this guy right here. A lot of people have Alec Ayomanor, whatever how you ever say his name. They have him a lot higher in their league. Sometimes they got him up here with like Golden and Harris. I just don't see it, guys. 6'2", 206 yards. I think he just lacks some short area burst, in my opinion. He showed by his class worst 1.58 10-yard split at the combine. So he had a huge workload though at Stanford. He handled 32% target share, 47% air yardage, which was second highest in his entire class. So yeah, while I can say Ayomanor has potential, I just think that I like some of these other guys' raw talent a little bit better than Alex a little bit. Could he develop into a great wide receiver? Absolutely he can. A lot of these guys can. Just based on the film that I'm watching, I just like some guys a little bit better than Alec myself. So let's go to the very last pick of the draft at the 312. Let's set this player, and I'm gonna go Damian Martinez, the bigger back out of Miami. 6 foot, 217 pounds, kind of like the power back, right? Very effective rusher. Had a 4.48 yards per carry last season. Trailed only Ashton Genty, right? But he might not be able to do too much as a receiver. He wasn't really asked to do a lot at Miami. I mean, you had Cam Ward and Aurora over there, and Estrepo, and all these guys that were just going, Restrepo, whatever his name is, going crazy in Miami. They didn't even have Damian Martinez, but a good goal line guy, big burly type of back. I like myself some Martinez, easily the last guy for me in this draft. So, but guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This is my Superflex mock draft. We did 3 rounds for you guys. That's a ton of picks that we did for you guys live on the air here. So we had to type in some names. It wasn't the most fluid, but hey, you guys get the concept. This is what I would do in a Superflex league, guys. Leave a comment down below. Do you guys agree with some of these guys? Who do you don't agree with me? That's the best part about fantasy football. Sometimes you guys agree, sometimes you don't, but at least we can have a conversation in the comments below. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit a subscribe button, guys. We're pumping out so much videos at this point. We are getting you ready for your drafts, whether it's a dynasty league, redraft league, best ball league, it doesn't matter. Here at the Body Bringer Fantasy Network, we do a little bit of everything, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.